Hi, I'm Johnny. This is Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. Today I'm talking about a classic horror movie from the 1980s that I slept on for way too long. Today, Johnny likes From Beyond.
You tell him, Johnny. You tell the world.
Jeffrey Combs plays Crawford Tillinghast, a young scientist who's been mentoring under Dr. Edward Pretorius. Together, they've been working on a machine called the Re-Resonator, which allows different wavelengths of reality, not normally perceptible to humans, to be experienced in all their horror and glory. So basically, it merges dimensions. Crawford finds himself in an insane asylum after he is caught by the police fleeing the scene where Dr. Pretorius has been found decapitated. He's put under the supervision of Dr. Catherine McMichaels, Barbara Crampton, who's fascinated by the Re-Resonator machine. With the help of Detective Bubba Brownlee, Ken Foree, they start experimenting with the Re-Resonator, resulting in unforeseen consequences involving a mutated Dr. Pretorius, the pineal gland, sexual desires, and strange creatures from beyond. So as I said, I slept on this movie for a long time. I have clear memories of seeing this film on the shelves in the video store when I was younger, but I just never really was interested in it. I actually always thought it was about aliens from the cover and the title. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I finally watched it and saw what I've been missing all these years. Late to the party I may be, but I did arrive. And this is a very enjoyable horror movie and very much a sister project to Re-Animator. After all, it reunites Crampton, Combs, and Gordon, doing another HP Lovecraft Story adapted by Dennis Paoli and Brian Usna. I'm sure there are other recurring players, but those are the notables anyway. I call this a sister project not just because of the returning players, but because the characters the actors play are kind of switched in this one from what they did in Re-Animator. In Re-Animator, Crampton was the voice of reason. She wanted the guys to stop doing their crazy experiment before it got too out of hand. In this one, Crampton is the one who pushes once it's already started to get out of control, and Combs is the one who wants to shut it down.
I have to find out if the pineal gland is really the key.
Okay, under controlled conditions.
But we have control. No one knows that Re-Resonator better than you do.
You're right, and that's why no one is touching it.
Unlike Re-Animator, this film doesn't really have a sense of humor about it. It plays it very straight, and I think it works very much in the film's favor. The special effects in this are fantastic, and there are a number of standout gags that I just have to mention because they're awesome. Alright, let's get this one out of the way. The dick coming out of Combs' forehead. Yeah, it looks like a dick and it retracts in and out of his forehead where his third eye might be. So it's his pineal gland, I guess. But some say it might look like a mushroom or a snake. They're just being polite. It looks like a dick and it's coming out of his forehead. Pretorius when he's half misshapen and he looks like a poster. That's pretty awesome. Ken Foree when he's all melty. That looks great. Really the whole end sequence where everything is super slimy and getting pretty unhinged. All of the effects in this are creative and well executed, and I think they make for some of the best work of the 80s, which is no small feat. It's top-notch stuff, and if you're an FX nerd, you gotta see this. If you're a horror nerd, you gotta see this. The sound design and sound mixing deserve a shout out in this. I watched it with a decent pair of headphones, and the opening scene where Combs is turning on the Re-Resonator was fantastic. He's flicking on all these different switches, and with each one you get a different machine hum. And it's layer and layer of this, added with the sound effects and the score, and all of a sudden, it's this wall of sound that you'd never notice unless you're looking for it. And I counted about 10 different layers of sound present once the interdimensional eels show up. And I don't know if this is standard movie work that I'm just generally oblivious to, or if it's just a really good job. But I noticed it this time and I appreciated it. So this is just a shout out to all the sound guys out there doing the unsung work that no one really notices unless you're doing it poorly. The acting in this was great for what it was, a lower budget horror movie. I'm always a fan of Crampton and Combs, but also Sorrell and Forey were very good as the supporting roles. Although, no offense to them, I would have preferred to see Bruce Abbott and David Gale return to make a full Re-Animator reunion, but I'll take what they gave me. Everyone did a very good job, but I can't help but have my fanboy fantasy. Along with this, I watched Re-Resonator, a look back at From Beyond, which is a retrospective documentary filmed in 2023. It's a fascinating watch, and I'd recommend it to fans of the movie. I only mention it because there is an insight in it that stuck out to me, which is that HP Lovecraft probably had a thing about germs. And that's probably the inspiration for this story. After all, germs are this unseen force that can kill you. I just thought it was kind of interesting. So this movie checks a whole bunch of boxes that I'm aware that I'm attracted to. The gory, slimy, practical effects, especially those done in the 80s. The kinky sexuality being awakened in oneself. The unseen world. In this case, it's another dimension. A strong choice in color palette. From the cover of the VHS, I never would have imagined how much pink played a role in this film. The simple moral of the story, don't mess with the unknown. AKA, fuck around, find out. But it's also got something else going for it that I can't as easily define. It doesn't really fit into a box, and that's the movie's vibe, or attitude, or tone, its energy, whatever you want to call it. It's just that little extra something that, when added with all those elements that I like, it sums into this wonderful horror film. One last thing. Huge fan of the leather lingerie that Barbara Crampton wears in the second act.
Swing, swing.
Fun fact, I read that she sold it in a garage sale. Those are my thoughts on From Beyond. Long story short, it's a great lower budget 1980s horror film. It's got great special effects, wonderful performances, and a cool story. It's absolutely a must-see for the time period and genre, and I'm going to rate it a 4.25 out of 5. So what did you think of From Beyond? You can let me know in the comments. And while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's quick, free, and relatively painless. Plus, helps me out. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little while, and you can tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.